My in-laws left me alone with my sister-in-law's bedridden daughter and went to Hawaii. But one truthful word from that child exposed a secret so shocking that when they returned, my revenge was beyond anyone's imagination. That moment is still lodged in my chest as if it never came out with my breath, when I watched their car turn the corner of the street through the window glass. The sun was harsh, but something inside me went dark. The door closed, and all that remained in my hand was the spare house key. From upstairs came the soft, constant sound of the oxygen machine. My sister-in-law's bedridden daughter, Emma, was alone in that room. And my in-laws? They were going to Hawaii. Laughing. As if I weren't a human being, just a temporary responsibility that could be left behind. I looked at myself in the kitchen glass. Dark circles under my eyes, hair out of order. I had lost my job just last month. My health insurance was gone. Rent reminder notices sat folded in my bag. I had come here hoping the family might stand with me, but instead they handed me a sick child and a silent house. Without asking. Without shame. I went upstairs. Emma was awake. The doctors said she couldn't speak, or maybe never would. Most days she stared at the ceiling, as if some story was playing there that the rest of us couldn't hear. I straightened her blanket, set water by her bed, and just as I turned away, I heard a voice. "They're taking money out in my name." My heart seemed to stop. I told myself it was exhaustion, pressure, grief piling up. But then she said it again, clear, slow, and certain. "Hawaii is an excuse. The files are in the garage. In the blue box." I sat down in the chair. My hands were shaking. "Emma, what are you saying?" She looked at me. There was less childhood in that look and more weariness. "From my trust fund. Grandpa's signature. Insurance money. They say I don't understand anything." The silence in the house grew heavy, like a held breath. I went downstairs. In the garage, there really was a blue box. Inside were files, bank statements, signed forms, copies of policies. Dates. Amounts. Everything in Emma's name. And in a few places, forged signatures under my name. Because I was the one they could make look close. Quiet. Unprotected. Anger spread through me like fire, but I didn't scream. I didn't break. I put the files back, closed the box, and went back to Emma. "We won't make noise," I said softly. "We'll let the truth speak for itself." The next day, I made calls. A lawyer who had once answered even when my bill was late. Then the bank. Then the insurance company. Then a social worker. I didn't accuse anyone. I just asked questions. And the paper spoke on its own. I learned that Emma's trust had been set up after an accident years ago. That insurance payouts were supposed to cover long-term care. That withdrawals had been structured to look routine. That guardianship authority had been stretched, bent, and quietly abused. Patterns emerged. Red flags multiplied. Once institutions start looking, silence loses its power. When they came back, cheerful, showing photos, I smiled and closed the door. The files were laid out on the kitchen table. Silence returned, but this time it was for them. The phone rang. Then another. Faces changed color. My sister-in-law sat down. My father-in-law's voice trembled. "What is this?" I said, "Emma's voice. And the truth." I didn't give a long speech. I simply told them the accounts had been frozen. That temporary guardianship was changing. That investigations were underway. All through proper channels. Quietly. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a straight-backed chair, calm eyes, and a step taken at the right moment. Later, I sat beside Emma. She held my hand. "You believed me," she said. I touched her forehead. "You were brave enough to speak." In the weeks that followed, life slowly steadied. Emma's therapy improved once the money meant for her care was actually used for her. A different social worker came by, one who explained things clearly and listened. The house felt lighter, even when it was quiet. I found part-time work, nothing glamorous, but honest. A community center helped with food vouchers and legal referrals. Neighbors I barely knew started checking in. No big miracle happened, just small, true steps. The kind ordinary American women take when they rebuild their lives piece by piece. The legal process moved slowly, as it always does, but it moved. Documents were reviewed. Statements were corrected. Accountability stopped being a threat and became a reality. For the first time, decisions were being made with Emma at the center, not around her. Emma began speaking more in therapy, not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily. Her voice was still soft, but it was hers. She asked questions. She laughed sometimes. She slept better. The oxygen machine still hummed, but it no longer sounded like a countdown. As for me, I learned something I hadn't known before, that being quiet doesn't mean being weak, and being alone doesn't mean being powerless. I had spent years shrinking myself to survive. That house, that moment, forced me to stand. Now, when I remember that day, when their car turned the corner of the street, that image doesn't break me. Because I know this. A woman assumed to be silent. And a child believed unable to speak. When they stand with the truth, become the strongest voice in the room. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like the video. It truly helps more than you know. Subscribe to the channel for real, emotional stories about truth, resilience, and quiet strength. Thank you for listening until the end, and for supporting stories that give voice to those who are often unheard.